Good afternoon and welcome to the training session for Summer Reader Cleanup, both to those who are here present and those that are going to be watching this on video. I want to thank you guys for coming. I hope you had a good summer. I really want to thank you guys for doing such a good job of getting kids and adults too, hopefully, involved in reading this summer. And I want to guide you through some steps today that can help you get ready for next year and keep good track of your data and prepare to run any additional programs that you might want to run this fall or this winter. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to log into the staff side of our program. Again, as I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. I'll get to them. If they are timely to what we're discussing right now, I'll try to answer them immediately. If they are specific and unique to your program or the reports or things that you want to run, I will get to them at the end of the session. The first thing we're going to talk about before we do anything else is how to run reports. Now, at the end of the summer, you're going to want to keep track of your data and get reports on what you've done all year. Libraries have many different philosophies when it comes to how long they want to keep their data. In a few minutes, we'll talk about data deletion, preparing programs for future use. But right off the bat, I want to talk about how to suck that data out of the program. There are two very different schools of thought when it comes to the kind of personal information you have about your patrons. Obviously, you have lots of names and addresses, phone numbers, email addresses of many young patrons. Now, that data can be very valuable. It can really help give you a lot of insight as to who's using your library. Some libraries find that data very dangerous, and they would like to get rid of it as soon as possible. So we're going to work on how to, first of all, how to pull that data out of the system if you want it, if you want to keep a hard copy of everything that's in your system, as well as how to run specific reports. Then we'll talk about how to do data deletion if that's something that you're interested in. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on Reports. Again, I'm on the Summer Reader Staff homepage. And there's a variety of different reports. The Certificate Report allows you to choose a certificate, choose the programs to which it applies. Now you can choose what kinds of people receive this certificate. You can give it out to just a specific user if you're trying to run one. If you're only wanting to give it to, say, one particular class at school, for example. And there's a school class, you could enter a filter by that, and it would just run a filter for a specific group of people in the class. You can do filters by logging filters, so maybe everybody that read 100 books will get a certificate, or whatever filter you want. Then you can run the report. We'll see if this returns any results. I'm using a test database, no reports found. We'll make it more simple. We'll just do one. Still not getting any results. This is what happens when you don't have a real program, unfortunately. Let's see if we can get anybody to show up. See if we'll return everybody that's in the system. No, unfortunately, this system doesn't have any active patrons in it that it's going to return for the certificates report. Essentially, when it runs, you'll return data that will allow you to then send the certificates out to the patrons. Still have this set at 1. No, we're not going to be able to get any return for the certificates report, unfortunately. If you want to run a custom report, you're going to choose the program. This will be the easiest way to pull out every single piece of information that's in your system. If you want to download everyone that's in your entire system, everything they've done, all of their logging, all of their reviews, all of their everything, you can go to a custom report. You can click Check All, and you can sort the report. Most people want to sort it by patron ID. And then when you run the report, you will get essentially a document that has everything that's been done. How much they've read, what they've reviewed, when they submitted it. All of their information for the entire program will show up in one report. If you export that as an Excel document and then run the report, you'll see it opens up down here. And I'll open an Excel document with the same information. Now, if I wanted to save this report, I would essentially have a backup copy of all the records for that particular program. Now, obviously, you can filter down the custom report if you like. For instance, if you wanted to run a report of everybody who had at least one book read or one review, you could do that as well. The custom report is going to give you the data just in bulk and raw form. Once it's in an Excel file, if you want to parse it down, do different things with it, you can. But it's going to not exactly be the most helpful report in terms of actually generating numbers, because it's just basically spitting out a lot of data all at once. If we try the individual's registration report, this is one that people often like to run. We're going to check all of this, run the report, and this will give you a list of each individual and what they've done when they registered. Now, this isn't going to give you any program totals. This is just going to give you a list of everyone who participated. So if you wanted to know who participated in my program, who signed up, the individual's registration report will do that. If you just want sign-up data for everyone who read at least one book, you could put a logging filter of 1, run the same report, and again, you'll get a smaller sample. You should note, as always, you can export this either as an HTML file, which is just this, it's just a web page that opens, as a CSV document, which stands for comma separated values. It's sort of like a generic Excel format, or as an Excel document. When you export things as an Excel document, it will give you a warning because Excel has upgraded since the version of file that the program creates. You can just say yes and open the file anyway, and it'll open in your version of Excel. So don't worry about any warnings about, oh, this file version isn't the same. Just go ahead and say yes, and it'll be fine. Additional reports, log totals report. We'll set this for multiple users. Now, if you want to organize this by individual, for example, if you want to know how much each individual read, you can open up with log totals, and it will give you total by each person. Now, there's some duplicate names in here, but those are actually just because this is a simple database, and there's some people, we use the same names in some different programs. But essentially, this would give you a total of how much every single person read in your program. So if you wanted a list, for example, of I want everyone who read at least 50 books, and I want to know how many books they read. Remember, you're not just trying to figure out their personal information. You're actually trying to find out how much they read. I don't know. 50 is probably too high for this program. Probably don't have anybody that read 50. We'll run 5. Now we'll get a smaller report, and only people who read 5 books will show up in the system. And we're also going to get a monthly total for them as well. Program totals report is a report that you might want if you just want to know just sort of the raw data So if you wanted to subtotal your information by any of the registration questions, you could get that. We could do it by date. So in this case, we're going to go May 1st, 2012 to August 7th, 2012, and we'll run a report. And this will show us the program totals. How many registrants, how much they read, how many reviews were done, whether prizes were received, etc. And then again, you'll see it's broken up based upon the question that they asked. In this case, we broke it down by gender, by male and female. Those are the primary reports. Registration totals and reviews totals work mostly the same way. Let's check all of these here. Again, for registration totals, we can group them by individual. And we're seeing when people signed up for the program. Grouping it by individual is one way to do it, but you could also group it by primary library. Now you would get a total of how many people signed up at each branch. The main things to keep in mind when running reports, first of all, are the group by. Make sure you're running a report to get the right information. So if you're wanting to run a report to get to know how many people were involved in the program, how many people signed up, you're going to want to run an individual's registration report. If you want raw data, just throw it in the spreadsheet and you just want it all, you'll run a custom report. If you want to know how much individuals read, you'll do a log totals. If you want to know how many reviews each individual did, you'll do a reviews total. If you want more macro data, how many people read in each branch, what were the total amounts, that's where you're going to use a program totals. And you'll use subtotals to get additional information if you want. Once you've run your reports and you've pulled out whatever data you want to save from the program, whether it's just a custom report with all the data that you now have backed up, or whether it's whatever kind of statistics you're looking to get. The thing you have to remember with reports is it gets tricky because every library wants different data. So it's hard for me to specifically say which report you might want to run because every library is looking for something different. But once you've saved the data that you want, there's a couple steps that you can take in order to make your program go well for the following year. The first thing you're going to want to do with your program is you're going to want to make it inactive. So we're going to click on Edit Program, and we're going to want to take our program off the active list. So when we click on Edit Program, we will click Active No and click Save. It now no longer appears on the list. Once a program has been moved to the inactive programs list, you can click on Inactive Programs and you'll find it in this list. You'll see this program's been going on for a long time, so there's a lot of programs in the list here. So we're going to click on Between the Covers, and this is the program that we just ran. Once you've made your program inactive, you have some choices. First of all, you can just leave it. Do nothing with it. It's inactive. It doesn't show up on your home page anymore. No one will see it next year. Secondly, you can clear the data from it. Now, there are two ways to clear data, and they are different, but it's very important that you choose the right one. The first is to delete all program records. If you choose Delete All Program Records, essentially you will dump the log totals, the registrants, and any other information in the program. You'll just wipe it out. So this program will essentially go back to blank. It'll be like the first day you created it. There's a second step. Delete all program records, including patrons. This is the step I recommend you take. Once you have all the data you want, I recommend that you delete all program records, including patrons. This wipes the patron out of our database completely. This is important because the next year when the patron goes to sign up for a program, if they try to use the same username from year to year, the program will prompt them to enter in their password. What we have found is most libraries think they want to have patrons maintain consistent usernames from year to year. The problem with that is that most patrons, especially children, can never remember their passwords. And they end up having to call the library to set up their account for them. And it ends up making a lot more work. This is a feature that people think they want, but people are often unhappy with it once they do have it because they find their patrons can't really remember their passwords. However, if you are running a fall program right on top of your summer program, you may want to keep that consistency of identity. If you're trying to keep a consistent identity but still wipe the records clean, you want to delete all program records. If you want to completely wipe the patron out of the system, which is our recommended setting, click Delete All Program Records, including patrons. Now, if you change your mind, so first you click Delete All Program Records, it gives you the message, you click OK, then you try to delete all program records, including patrons, it won't do anything. Once you do this, delete all program records, you cannot go back and delete all program records, including patrons. So what happens? Let's say you've changed your mind. I deleted all my program records, but now I would like to delete the patrons too. Where do I find them? Because they're still in the system. You're going to go back to the system maintenance page. You're going to click on patron information. It's on the lower left-hand corner. And then you will list all unregistered patrons, and this will show you, you'll see there's 24 pages of them here. This will show you everyone that is in your system that is not associated with a current program. This is everyone that if they try to go back and sign up with the same username, they're going to get prompted to enter their password, and they're probably going to not remember their password. They're going to probably call you, and 24 pages of people doing that can be pretty heavy for a library to deal with. So if you have mistakenly deleted records and you also want to delete patrons, there's a handy button down here, Delete All Unregistered Patrons. Again, that step to get rid of patrons. Patron information. You can list them or you can just delete them entirely. In this case, I'm going to leave them in here. We're going to delete some of them. Note there's also an email button here. This is a useful tool for the next year. Let's say you have cleaned out your record and you want to email everybody that's ever been in your program before but isn't in your program now. So let's say it's next June and there's 1 week left in sign up. And you've brought some patrons back and they've signed up again and you've re-registered them, but you want to email all of your patrons that haven't re-signed up. You can click the email button and email them all back. Now obviously if you delete all program records including patrons you can't do that. So this is one of those trade-offs. You have to decide what's more important to you. To have access to that patron information or to have the convenience of them just being able to sign up fresh each time. The other step you can take once you've made a program inactive is you can copy the program and get the exact same settings again. So let's say I want to start a fall program. I can copy this program. I'm going to call it fall program. I'm going to save the copy. Now I have my fall program will show up in my inactive programs. I can make it active, and it will show up now in my active programs. There's my new fall program. If you want to keep the same patrons as before, so let's say you had a summer reading program and you want to jump immediately to a fall reading program, but you want to keep the same people in it. You don't want to have them sign up again. It's a new program, it's a fresh start, but you just want them to start over. You can make your fall program, your summer program inactive, find it in the active list, click copy program, and as long as you haven't deleted the patrons, which we've done in this case, as long as you haven't deleted the patrons, you can choose to include them in the new program. So now you will have set up a new program with the same settings as before, but with patrons, and the patrons will have clean records. Then to get your new program ready for the fall, you're going to want to go into it and update any language. I mean, obviously, if you've got messages or things that say, hey, I hope you're doing good this summer, you're going to want to change those. You're going to want to change the dates, things like that. The final step in order to get a program ready for fall or winter is you're going to want to use one of our templates. We don't have our winter templates ready yet, although if you go to evantsolutions.com/templates2011, you'll find that we do have a 2011 fall and 2011 reading template, winter reading template. They don't say 2011 on the actual template, so you can use them in 2012. We hopefully will be adding more winter templates. If you want to do a Christmas break program or something, a winter break program, in a few months, we'll hopefully have those templates ready for you pretty soon. But we do have existing templates. To apply a template to a program, click Download Template. Then you're going to want to select, all. I haven't done this in Chrome for a while. You're going to want to select everything on this page here. Once you have hopefully you're about to all button side right now to Chrome on this one, and I should have used Firefox. Get up top of the page. So what you're doing is you're copying all of this data and you're importing it in your program. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Now that I've copied everything from this page, I'm going to click Import on my Summer Reader program. I didn't get it all copied. If you've copied it correctly, you click Import. It'll import the text. Then you'll be able to go to your page editor, click on Fall Program. Load. Template. It'll show up there. And you've changed your template and prepared it for the winter. Again, that step is to go here, click Download. Let's look at this in a Firefox browser, because most browsers have a Save As, but I've never actually done that in. There we go. Select all, copy. There we go. So you're going to select all, copy it. On the system maintenance page, you'll go to Import. This must be one of our old. Once you've imported it, it will show up, excuse me, it will show up in the page editor. Click on the program, load, style source, template, select template, and then you can choose template from the template you want from the list, in this case fall. Click load, and it will save the fall template or the winter template. Then you can save it. And you'll have a new template for your fall or winter program. Please note the CSLP templates. If you have a CSLP or if you have an iRead template or any of the other templates, if you haven't been using Evance templates, those templates will disappear shortly. I don't have the exact date when they'll go away, but essentially the artwork is on loan for a limited period of time to you as a subscriber to iRead or to CSLP. So your artwork may disappear soon. When that happens, you'll want to use one of our custom templates if you're going to do a program for the fall or winter. And you can find those here, evancesolutions.com, templates 2011. We do have some 2012 templates. There's a link to them too. They're not necessarily seasonally appropriate right now. Those are the templates that we had for 2012. Again, we'll be adding a new winter template here very shortly. So those are really the 3 steps to get your program ready. Run your reports, clean up your data, make your program inactive, and then apply templates for a new program. All right. If that's the end of the prepared amount of this presentation. If you have questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat box. And the chat box is here. I will mark it for you. If you don't have any questions, thank you for coming. I'll be posting this online. Again, getting your program ready for next year is as simple as running reports, cleaning up your data, and then doing any other programs. Remember, as a subscriber to Summer Reader, you have access to your program all year long. You don't just have to use it during the summer. You can use it during the fall. You can use it during the winter as well. This is a yearly subscription. Whether you're on a state contract or anything else, you have year-long access to the program. Your URL will not change. There's no adjustments that are made. You can do all the preparation work yourself. There's no additional cost for running additional programs. Thank you all for coming.